So the common person, there's so much fear surrounded with AI. So there's excitement, depending on who you talk to, then there's a lot of fear. So people fear technology in a way where they're like, oh, AI is going to take over the jobs and it's going to be robots everywhere, this and this and that. And, you got, obviously Tesla, you got self-driving cars now that used to seem like something that was futuristic. Now it's real. So,
Yep.
I mean, what do you think as far as the fear? I think people will have to pivot. But one of the questions I had to ask you is that with AI and the fear based part of it, what are the skills you think people need to kind of focus on, especially in relation to education, um, to not be so scared of AI replacing humans? Because I know one of the focuses of your company is obviously to implement AI and also, capture, not capture, but to include the human in the process.
So two very important things. It all has to do with change management. Our people are I wouldn't just say our people, all people, because I speak to all populations across the globe. Um, People are afraid of changing what they're used to, right? So there's a change management issue for sure. Um, we also are used to traditional education to where when you reach university and you finish university, you're like, that's it. I never have to open up a book ever again. I'm done with the learning phase of my life, and now in the working phase of my life, right? That also needs to change because what AI has introduced is this idea that there's going to be a new way of doing something every 3 to 6 months. And we're like, what? Like, I
Right.
just learned the old way.
Right.
And I finally got the energy to learn this new way. And you're telling me the new way is going to change in 6 months? Like, you have to learn how to learn, basically. And this is me as an educator talking to you. Like, everyone has to embrace that. I used to tell people you need to upskill yourself every 3 to 5 years. That is
Hmm.
now down to 3 to 5 months, right? Like, you
Yeah.
need to pick up a book, or when I say learn how to learn, what is your preferred learning style? Is it watching YouTube videos? Is it watching TikToks? Is it reading? Is it learning by doing? Like, figure out what your way is and master that, because anytime a new thing comes up, you need to dive into that rabbit hole and brush up and adapt and adopt, because if you don't, you're going to get left behind the people who do, right? So that section on your resume that we all have, and if anyone see me on stage, I say this like a broken record all the time. That section on your resume that you have, like, oh, I know how to use Office, PowerPoint, Photoshop, graphic design. We all have that section, right? For you, it
Yeah.
was like all the Logic, Pro Tools, right?
Right.
Like Adobe, like you had all the things that you knew how to master from a musician side. That section now is going to be replaced with, I know ChatGPT, I know Midjourney, I know Runway ML, I know all these AI tools that can make me 5x, 10x more productive as an employee.
Hmm.
And how are you going to stack up in a job interview to someone who has that section on your resume and you don't,
Who doesn't? Yeah.
right? And you're doing things the old-fashioned way.
Hmm.
So you can stay on the sidelines all you want, but it's going to be a matter of, like, how valuable are you in this future workforce without knowing how to work with OpenAI, with AI, because you're not going to be
Hmm.
replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use those AI tools and is more productive because they learned how to use those AI tools.
That is a great point. That's actually a jewel right there. You're not going to be replaced with AI. You'll be replaced by somebody who knows how to use it. And that's such a great
100%.
point. I mean, I personally, being in, I've done a lot of things too. As far as music, I've worked in finance. I've done a lot of things too, and I think one of the things is that unless you're a doctor or a lawyer or you do something where even in those positions you have to continue to learn, but unless you're in one of those super traditional occupations where you pretty much do a particular task your whole life, you're gonna have to learn something. And I think that those of us in music, I've done a lot with film and audio and all of that. So you have to learn, even if it's just your hobby, you have to learn, or else you won't even know how to do it. So
So who taught you how to use Pro Tools? How did you learn how to use Pro Tools?
well, I learned how to use Pro Tools just by buying it and just sitting down and working with it at home. I learned I learned by ear and learn how to record and learn how to mix and produce, just sitting down and doing these things. So and I think to that point, if you have a passion to do something, people who have a passion will tear into it and they'll learn it one way or the other just because they just like to sit down and just do it. But I think that at the same time, to what the point you're making is also, you can't look at everything as a job necessarily either. You leisurely have to decide to learn. I don't think you have a choice. You have to, by leisure, just want to learn.
Well, I imagine that you were working while learning Pro Tools, right? You
Absolutely.
had you had a job, you had
Oh,
other
absolutely.
responsibilities. You
Oh,
had
yeah.
to find time to learn Pro Tools. And even with children and a family, after learning Pro Tools, a plugin comes out, and then you got to learn that plugin all over again, or like that
Yep.
software update, and you gotta dive in, right? And like your way to do that is your way. Sometimes people read the manual from forward to back. Some people watch YouTube tutorials, right? But you had no choice. Like, to stay relevant with that technology,
Oh, yeah.
you had to stay up on it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no choice. And even if you're like, even now, coming up to now, if you're creating content, I mean, you can do content. Traditionally, you have to learn how to create the content, whether you're filming or editing or whatever the case is. But obviously, the amount of efficiency with AI is just crazy. It's crazy now. So